The experience and maturity of Blue Springs quarterback Nate Menace had already arrived. The Wildcats rallied through the air in the final 30 seconds to grab victory as it fell from the sky. Menace capped the comeback and propelled the Wildcats further into the playoffs. Tonight the rematch, the junior Ament against the senior Menace, next on the high school Game of the Week.
American Cablevision presents the High School Game of the Week. Tonight, the Blue Springs Wildcats take on the Oak Park Northmen.
They threatened us with rain tonight, but no, looks like it'll hold off. And North Kansas City District Stadium ready to hold one of the top games in high school football this season. Hi again, everybody. Neil Harwell with you on the Game of the Week. Last time these two teams got together, it was one of the top games that we had all season long. Oak Park and Blue Springs. Blue Springs winning it at the wire, Duran. And I know these teams have waited a long time to play this game, and we have two of the top teams again this season.
Yeah, we do have two of the top teams. Blue Springs, which lost to Rockhurst a couple weeks ago, Neil, had rebounded very effectively last week. But here's an Oak Park team who comes in this year really not tested, hasn't really played anybody. But last year we thought the same thing, and they took Blue Springs to the wire. Blue Springs had to come back on them, so we're looking for a great contest out of both of these teams tonight.
We've talked so much about it. The two guys that really made it such a good game last season, Duran, the quarterbacks on either team, very, very solid.
Well, leading the way for Blue Springs is Nate Menace. Of course, Neil, he is a tremendous athlete, a guy that can throw the ball, but more effectively running the ball. And maybe tonight he'll have to use that running ability because of the field conditions. On the other side, Matt Ament, who is the leading rusher on this Oak Park team, he's the leader. He's the guy that they're going to look to in key situations. And we saw him pull his team from behind last year against Blue Springs. Look to do the same tonight.
It is a nice night. The field conditions somewhat soggy, however. They played a high school game here last night in North Kansas City and Raytown. We'll be back with the kickoff right after this.
Hey man, nobody puts better jazz on their pizza than Minsky's.
Right now, any Minsky's large 4-topping $8.99.
It's official. So welcome to the grand opening sale at the all-new John McCarthy Gladstone Nissan. The factory has supplied us with hundreds of new Nissan trucks, Sentras, and Nissan Maximas for the biggest grand opening Nissan sale event to ever take place in Kansas City. Everyone knows new Nissans always cost less north of the river, and now the savings are even greater. So hurry to the official grand opening sale at John McCarthy Gladstone Nissan, 5900 North Oak.
Kansas City, a tranquil, peaceful community of whispering fountains.
It's Isaac Curtis, I broke his jaw, and Will Height stayed here overnight.
Things are heating up at Arrowhead Stadium, so things are getting hot at Bannister Mall with weekly live tapings of Bump and Run.
We don't like them, and on Saturday it's going to be a bloodbath.
Join Duran Cherry and Company at Bannister Mall Wednesday nights at 7 for an inside look at Kansas City's favorite team. And watch Bump and Run on American Cablevision, coming through for Kansas City.
The High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Rusty Eck Ford in Leavenworth. Just a little drive for big savings. And by John McCarthy Gladstone Nissan. New Nissans always cost less north of the river at 5900 North Oak Traffic Way. And welcome back to North Kansas City Stadium for tonight's game between Oak Park and Blue Springs. And we talked about the field conditions. Let's go down to Duke Fry. Duke, what's the story down there?
All right, thank you. The conditions are pretty bad, especially in between the hash marks, really from about 20 to 20. It's going to be slippery out there. I think you're going to see guys falling all night long.
Well, there you go, Duran. Who does that benefit more, Oak Park or Blue Springs, with that type of field condition?
I think Oak Park, because they run that straight-ahead running attack, Neil. They don't try to get outside too much, even though the quarterback will run some option. But Blue Springs, they're a passing football team, so this field position or field conditions is definitely to Blue Springs' disadvantage.
Bailey kicks off. Pruitt at the 5 for the Wildcats. And he's out to the 30-yard line, across the 30 at the 32. Goes Pruitt, and he's tackled there by Eric Hernandez. So the Wildcats will start it on offense first. It's a very potent offense, averaging over 40 points a game. Nate Minnis, the quarterback, Randy Head, the runner, and then the 4 wide receivers led by Leroy Pruitt. And across the front, the line looks like this: Allenbaugh, Ball, Johnson, Beeble, and Snow. The Blue Springs Wildcats coming off a big victory last week. And they took it on the chin earlier to Rockhurst, their only loss of the season. Minnis on the give. And a gain of about 3. Tackle on the play is by Chad Tenney. On the carry, that is Ben Wisdom, excuse me. This is the Oak Park defense. They go with Osborne, Seeley, Tenney, Muty, Bland, and Wolfer. And then Waldman, Hernandez, Wolverton, Smith, and Rocha. A gain of 3 on the play brings up 2nd down 7 for the Wildcats. Opening drive of the game. Glad to have you with us on the high school game of the week. Minnis looks to throw it. He's got his receiver across midfield. That is Bray on the reception on a beautiful delivery from Minnis.
What a great pass and a great route, Neil. They set him up that time. They usually run Pruitt to the flat, and Minnis looks for Pruitt all the time on that route. That time, as you see Minnis roll out, Bray makes an outside move and then cuts up the seam, Neil, and he's wide open down the middle of the field. He beats the safety right there, and there's a touchdown, maybe saving tackle right there by Waldman.
Gain of 23, that's the 20th catch of the season for Chris Bray. Ball marked at the 42 of Oak Park. 1st and 10 Wildcats. Minnis to throw it again, looks to the far sideline, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver, Adam O'Rourke.
Oak Park defensively, Neil, is trying to disguise their coverages. They're up, showing man-to-man, and then they're dropping off in zone. And all Minnis is doing is sitting back, taking his time, looking at the formation, and then trying to throw to the open receiver on the outside.
So Nate Minnis, his team 4-1 coming in here. This is very important in the conference as well. They're fighting for first place, Oak Park and Blue Springs, both undefeated in conference play. This is Wisdom up the middle with a little bit of room, about 5 yards on the carry. He's tackled there by Derek Bland, the linebacker, and also Chad Tenney for the Northmen. Well, Wisdom's been a guy they've been using to really bang away in that lone setback position this season, Duran. There's his numbers, and he's also a very strong guy, very big guy.
Yeah, he is. In the running shoot, Neil, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to run, especially when he reads only 5 men in the box. He's the key guy to pound out those inside, hard-nosed running yards.
He goes 190 on the rollout. Minnis got his receiver Bray down to the 32-yard line, very close to a first down. Tackled by Chad Wolfer and Chris Rocha.
Here's an example of the field conditions, Neil. The receivers really have to stop and take their time to make the cuts. So here Minnis has to hold on to the ball just a little bit before he delivers so that receiver can get out of his break. Good job by Oak Park right there, conversion on the pass pattern and having 2 men on the flat.
Duke Fry, how's the field looking down there?
Well, I'll tell you, we were talking earlier about how it might affect the passing game. I don't think it's going to affect Blue Springs that much. My feeling has always been, as a receiver, you knew when you were going to cut. It might hurt the defensive back more, and when you're out on those wide receiver spots, it's not as worn down, not as muddy, not as slick as it is in between the hash marks. So they can still make good cuts out in the wide receiver positions.
And as the official brings the ball out of your living room, you saw that it was just short of the first down. That'll bring up a 4th down play, 4th and 1. Wayne McGinnis, head coach of Blue Springs. You saw Keith Ross moments ago, the Northman coach. And they've battled it out many times. Last year, just the top game of the season involving these two teams in the playoffs, and they've been waiting for this one. A lot riding on this game, conference respectability, and also these two teams could meet later on in the season.
They sure could meet later on there. You know, the key thing for in this game tonight is ball control. Can Blue Springs control the ball with this passing attack?
4th and 1, Wisdom, and he is clobbered at the line. Minnis got the first down, but the Oak Park folks don't think so. One of the big licks laid in there by Chad Tenney. Ziegler was also there.
Chad Tenney and Ziegler in there. They've got that line of scrimmage stacked up, Neil. They're just submarining, trying to get penetration. And anytime you get penetration, it always is good. You see the defensive lineman submarining underneath, which gives those linebackers an opportunity to be free. But they pick, looks like.
And another measurement shows that Oak Park has held.
They actually lost yards on the play.
Keith Ross's team has held on the first drive.
Well, this was a strong suit last year for them, was their defense. There's Chad Tenney right there stacking them up, along with Chad Wolfer coming in and cleaning up the tackle. But Neil, you know, excellent job for first series of stopping Blue Springs in the run. It's very difficult in short yardage situations for the running attack in a running shoot offense to be successful.
The junior quarterback, Matt Ament. And he is a big one of size, 6'2", 190. Pretty good size high school quarterback. The lone setback is Cooper. And he goes ahead, but right into the stack. And Nathan Folk there for the tackle. He only has 81 tackles this season, so he's been filling it up. Here's the Oak Park offense. Ament the quarterback. Barber and Cooper the running backs. The slot back is Rocha, then Muty and Smith the receivers. And then across the front, Ziegler, Noble, McAdams, Tenney, and Seeley. Oak Park on 2nd down and 9, a gain of 1 on 1st down. And they go from the I formation this time. Give is to the second back through on the play. That is Brent Bartholomew, who's had some injury problems. He came in as one of the top rushers on the team, 33 carries for 262 this season. And let's look at the Blue Springs defense. Across the front, they have Warren Perrine, who's almost 300 pounds and quick. Counts and Allenbaugh. Nathan Folk, the leading tackler. Jeff Simpson, the second leading tackler. And then Pogue, the linebackers. And Taylor, Knust, Corbin, and Hart in the secondary. 7:51 to go first quarter. Oak Park with the football, 3rd down 7. The lone setback is Bartholomew. Back to pass Ament, rolling to the left, looking to throw now. He'll run. And he just barely gets back to the line of scrimmage, and the Wildcats have held.
Well, you can see Oak Park's game plan right from the start, Neil. They're going to try to confuse Blue Springs defensively. They've come out in 3 plays, Neil, 3 different formations. One back set, then they came out in an I formation. Now here's a trip set to the left. No receiver open. Matt Ament turns it upfield. Blue Springs pursuit knocks him down short of the first down. There's a good defensive series for Blue Springs.
And to punt it away, Chris Wright for Oak Park. And Leroy Pruitt is back deep for Blue Springs, also Knust back there. There's the punt headed straight for Pruitt. He should have some room to return it. Makes a move and gets to the outside. A nice return by Pruitt to the 46-yard line, and he's tackled by Chad Tenney.
Good return, Neil. Picks up excellent field position for Blue Springs. You know, with the conditions like that in the middle of the field, you notice how Pruitt just made one move, escape, and then got vertical up the field to pick up those yards. He didn't run sideways.
Look at these numbers right here. Most of that work done against Rockhurst of the interception variety, but it's just been a nightmare for every other team trying to contain this offense.
And his pass completion percentage is down this year, Neil, as opposed to last year.
Pruitt is in motion.
And he's still having a great year.
Out of the run and shoot. Menace to pass, looks downfield, arches it to Bray in the middle, and he is wide open. Makes a move to the right sideline and still going. Finally knocked down at about the 20-yard line by Eric Hernandez.
Now, we can see the replay. What set that play up perfectly was Leroy Pruitt coming in motion, drawing the defensive back up, which opened up the zone area. Now, the defensive back on top, who's playing the inside receiver, Bray, overruns him. He sits down in the zone, and Menace does a good job of finding him, and then Bray, just using his running ability, picks up a tremendous big play for Blue Springs. But Leroy Pruitt drew that linebacker outside in man-to-man coverage, and Menace did a good job of waiting for his receiver to come open.
Bray having a nice night, 34 yards on that reception. Ball marked at the On 1st and 10, Blue Springs. Menace to throw it again to the near side. It's caught this time by Eric Young. So the Wildcat offense really getting it in gear on their second drive. Eric Hernandez in the coverage for Oak Park.
Nothing but man-to-man coverage, and you know, Menace is doing such a tremendous job, Neil, finding those receivers. He's reading the defense. He's understanding where the open guy is, and he's throwing the ball in there. This is 2 plays right now where he's just really being patient back there as a quarterback and making good, smart decisions with the ball.
Ball at the 9-yard line. 1st and goal, Blue Springs Wildcats. Their second drive of the game. 5:27 to go, first quarter. This to take the conference lead, whoever wins this one between these two schools. Menace pump fakes, then throws in the end zone, overthrows Pruitt. They set it up nicely with the pump fake, but the coverage was pretty good out there by Wolverton.
You know, that's a play where, Neil, early in the game is a very tough pattern to complete. Menace rolls out, he pump fakes, but Neil, he hasn't thrown any out routes yet tonight, so that defensive back is not going to bite on that out route until he has an opportunity to see that pass out there on the flat. That's when you get that defensive back biting on the out route. In a situation like that, you know, you take the quick out on a first down pass, make that defensive guy play him smartly.
Something you need to set up as the game goes on.
Exactly.
Brings up a 2nd down and goal for the Wildcats. Menace on the rollout, pitches out to Wisdom. He tries to take the corner, and he does do a good job down to the 2-yard line. So a gain of 7 yards on the play.
It's a good decision that time.
Ashentrop on the tackle for Oak Park.
Blue Springs has to do more of that, Neil. When they get down into a goal line situation, they got to strike fear in the defense that they got a threat to run the football. And this running shoot offense doesn't strike that fear that you can run the ball when you get the ball inside the 10-yard line. That time they did a good job. They picked up 5, 6, 7 yards. Now they've got a short yardage situation.
3rd down and goal for the Wildcats. The give to Wisdom. And he's very close. Very close, bringing up a 4th down and goal at the 1-yard line. Chad Wolfer in there to stop it for Oak Park.
You see here from the end zone, camera, Wisdom just taking the inside handoff and fighting for that goal line. Interesting enough, Oak Park comes off the bench with Matt Ament, the quarterback, a great athlete, Neil, who's in this goal line situation. And he's in there for one reason only, because he makes big plays. Now they're hoping, Keith Ross is hoping that maybe he can come up with a big play in this situation. And he's out there on the wing guarding the corner.
4th and goal. Remember, Menace can scramble as well. They give to Wisdom. Touchdown, Blue Springs. So on 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, it's Wisdom in for the score.
Neil, you talk about the score. Here's a guy that, you know, doesn't see much of the football often in the single running back situation down in the goal line because it's very tough. But he gets those hard-nosed yards, Neil. He barrels his head down in there and he smells that goal line. That's an excellent job. The thing I like too, Neil, was the play selection by Blue Springs in this series of downs. They really mixed it up between the run and the pass. Nate Menace was very patient with what he was doing, throwing the football, waiting for receivers to come open, and then Wisdom utilizing the run and his strength really added that balanced attack that Blue Spring needs. And you see the cross, the trap block right there by the guard, and there he is just getting into the end zone.
And it looked like throwing that big block is 75, Ryan Johnson for Blue Springs.
Well, and it's up front in the line of scrimmage, Neil. That's where you win. It's just a matter of determination. These guys last year really beat, I think, Blue Springs up front from a defensive point of view. Blue Springs is now taking control. It's so far early in the football game, but they've shown the ability to make blocks and to spring that running attack.
So Blue Springs on top 7-0 after that big drive that Duran just described to you, and you just saw Jason Key and Chris Rocha back for Oak Park. And to kick it off, Guy Hodson, who just delivered the extra point for the Wildcats. You know, quite a different look on the face of Wayne McGinnis tonight than it was against Rockhurst a couple of weeks ago. He looks like his offense is going, and he just looks a lot happier over there on the sideline.
Well, Neil, he's got to be happy. Against Rockhurst, this is a team that got shut out, Neil. They didn't score any points. And Blue Springs historically is a team that puts points on the boards early in the game. And against Rockhurst, they weren't able to do that. They didn't score any points in the entire game. So he's a little bit happy now that he sees 7 points on the board.
Hodson to Jason Key. And Jason still moving with it. The whole pile going ahead to about the 29-yard line on the play. So Jason Key would not go down, and his team will start in pretty good field position at the 28. John Thompson, or actually, that would be Kenny Henrich on the tackle. .335 to go first quarter. Oak Park with the football, I formation. Pitch back to the tailback, and on the carry, that is Caleb Barber, but he's met in the backfield by Chris Bray.
Chris Bray does a great job coming up outside. You know, you teach the outside linebacker or the safety coming up on the outside to keep that outside leverage, and there he does a fine job of keeping outside leverage and bringing them down.
Actually, that's not Chris Bray. That is Jason Taylor on the tackle. I was going to say Chris Bray going on defense tonight. That's a shocker. Oak Park on second down, 14. Ament. It's complete to Rocha, who shakes a tackle. Out across the 35 to the 37-yard line goes Chris Rocha, the senior. Bob Knust and Steve Counts in on the tackle.
Trips formation to the wide side of the field, Neil. It's just open in the flat. Hit the quick pass right there. Look, he sheds a tackle right there and gets upfield. You can't answer. That's a great piece of running right there by Chris Rocha. And what you see right there is just determination, sheer determination.
Another measurement for the first down as Rocha makes the move and comes close to the first down, and he's very, very close to it. I think he's got it. First down, Oak Park. But not by much. 2:25 to go first quarter. Now, the drive here is very important for Oak Park. Blue Springs just shoved it down their throat, took it about 60 yards quickly. Now Oak Park trying to come back from that.
Well, these are two good football teams, Neil, and it's a cat and mouse game. Now, Oak Park has to show Blue Springs that they're ready to play tonight, and they're not just going to be the team to control the line of scrimmage, so they have to come out and establish their game plan offensively and move the ball against Blue Springs.
Ball at the 38. This is Cooper, and he's across midfield to the 48-yard line of Blue Springs, first down. Tackled by Mark Corbin for the Wildcats.
These two teams, Neil, in a sense, philosophy-wise, are very similar. You see the inside trap play right there, and he breaks it outside, and all you can do is just run for daylight and see. He cuts it upfield, he gets vertical, and you can't ask much more as a running back. You get upfield because those are the yards you're going to gain, positive yards.
Cooper looking like Jim Otis out of the 70s or something. Kansas City Chiefs. And this is Bartholomew up the middle. He's ahead for 1 yard on first down.
The point that I was making about these two teams being similar, Neil, is that they do mix it up offensively. They'll show some inside attack, but then they'll bring it outside. They'll get on the corner, and they'll mix their offensive philosophy up a little bit to keep the defense off balance. And that's why those quick hitting trap plays are able to be effective, because you're looking for some outside running plays out of certain formations, and they're popping you in there quick with that trap up the middle.
And here they are out of the I formation this time, the Northmen. Second down 10 from the 49. The ball on the turf picked up by Ament. Flags flying, and Ament got it back. Jeff Simpson in on the tackle along with many other Wildcats. Maybe there's not a flag on the play.
No,
just the beanbag tossed in there.
To mark where the ball was fumbled at, and good job. I guess the fullback was trying to grab the ball a little bit too much. As Ament, no, he just hits him on the backside there. Good presence of mind to pick it up. And they almost get it out there, Blue Springs does.
Ball marked at midfield, a loss of a yard on the play. That brings out third down and 11. And a slot back and 4 receivers in this set for the Northmen. Ament looks to pass.
Screen. Oh.
And just knocked away by 69 Ryan Allenbaugh. And Duran, it was all she wrote if he hangs on to that thing.
I mean, I could see it coming a mile away to screen, but it was wide open, Neil. If he was able to get it to the ball carrier, they have it spread out, no backs in the backfield. The fullback on the backside slips through, and he's got plenty of running room because they're playing man-to-man in the secondary. They've run the 2 corners off on the other side. It's just nothing but territory if they were able to complete that pass. That would have been a big play.
Excellent call there. Allenbaugh sticks a meat hook out there and knocks it down. And now into punt formation, Chris Wright. And he's kicking back to Leroy Pruitt. Knust is also back there for Blue Springs. The heat is on, but he gets it away. Ball bounds, and Pruitt will let it go as it drops at about the 17-yard line. Well, Oak Park showed that the offense was starting to get on track there, and you called it, the excellent call. The screen pass was not successful there, but they did show some signs of coming alive on offense.
Well, that's what they have to do. They have to take their time and establish the offense here tonight against this Blue Springs defense, because we know Blue Springs defense is a strong football team.
Well, remember, every Wednesday we tape Bump and Run at Bannister Mall, and then the show is aired at these times. And how about, Duran, how about Neil Smith the other night, huh?
Probably one of the best shows we've ever had. I mean, it was just hilarious.
All we had to do was tell Neil to sack Theotis like he was Randall Cunningham, and he had that going, the baseball swing going. We showed clips of him playing basketball. It was a great time out there the other night.
And I hope we see that baseball swing this Sunday, because it's going to be tough to sack Randall Cunningham. We know how good he is.
The Oak Park sideline. Why not be excited? Their Northmen are 5-0 this season. And Blue Springs and Nate Menace 4-1, their only loss to a very tough Rockhurst team. And I'm sure in the back of the Wildcats' mind, they're thinking about Rockhurst later on in the year.
Oh, I'm sure they are, Neil. But these are the games that prepare you for a team like to play against a team like Oak Park, who really hasn't played the stiff competition this year. And here Blue Springs up against a good team in Rockhurst, and they play a pretty tough schedule. So, you know, these guys are well prepared. They know that they're the class team out here right now in this kind of situation, knowing that they've played a team like Rockhurst, so they have that psychological advantage.
3 receivers to the near sideline. Menace throws underneath to Pruitt, and it's complete for not much of a gain on the play. Mickey Wolverton had him covered nicely.
Wolverton does an excellent job covering on the outside, but this is what Blue Springs has to do. They have to throw those short passes, because, Neil, later in the game, those short little outs and turn them into out and ups, those are the plays that go for the big plays. So you take the small ones now early in the game to set up those big plays later.
And this is part of the ball control of the run and shoot offense, Duran. So many teams run the ball, but this is part of their so-called running attack.
It's nothing more than like an outside pitch play, getting it on the corner and picking up 4 or 5 yards.
Menace looking far sideline. Young gets by the first man in the coverage, but then the safety Waldman over there to provide some nice coverage. Good work by him.
Matt Waldman reading the quarterback's eyes, making a tremendous break on the football to get over there. Menace overthrew the receiver, but I guarantee if that ball was on the money, Matt Waldman was in a position possibly to intercept it. You see him running over there. He's in great position. That's what you ask your free safety to do. Sit back there, read the quarterback's eyes, and just react as soon as he throws the ball. It was a good job by him.
So you're giving him an A?
I give him an A.
All right.
A+ on that one, Neil.
That's not bad coming from a 6-time All-Pro, Duran Cherry. We told Neil Smith he's only got 1. He's got 6 to go the other night. Menace back to pass, looking far sideline. Now he's going to run with it. Flag on the play, shaking tacklers across the 25 to the 27-yard line. He's tackled there by Wes Osborne, but a flag is on the play. That's what makes Menace so dangerous, though. It's a hold against Blue Springs.
Makes him a double threat, Neil. He can run with the ball, throw the ball. You know, when you have that combination and it's dangerous, you have to account for him out there. But Oak Park up front gets good penetration, and the offensive lineman holds here on the play. But Menace has the presence of mind to find a gap, turn it up the field, and he had the first down had it not been a holding call.
Half the distance will be 9.5. Holding. Offense. Replay 3rd down.
So the hold against Blue Springs, that was one of the big problems that Coach McGinnis had in that Rockhurst game we did. The penalties killed the Wildcats in the scoring zone. This one not in the scoring zone this time, but still hurting them.
Not just the Rockhurst game, Neil, but all season long they've had too many penalties in key situations that have cost them either key field position, opportunities to score points, and you can't do that, especially when you're playing against a good football team. And we saw that was very evident in the Rockhurst game, which cost them the game.
3rd down, 18, ball at the 9-yard line. That's what the penalty does to you. Menace back to pass, looks near sideline first, then throws over the middle, and it's almost intercepted by Matt Ament, who came over. The pass is intended there for Chris Bray.
And you know, here's a guy, Matt Ament, the quarterback for Oak Park, Neil, who's a kid that's out there on defense too. He's a great athlete. He can be on the field to make big plays on defense. Blue Springs doesn't use that philosophy. They usually just platoon them and they stay on one side of the line of scrimmage or the other.
Chris Rocha back for Oak Park. He's already returned 2 punts for touchdowns this season. He awaits at midfield. The kick is away by Menace. Rocha has it go over his head. Now he tracks it down to the 34, picks it up, and he's got some room. Not exactly how you would diagram it, but he gets it back to the 48-yard line. Rob Seeley on the tackle.
Oh, he does an excellent job. I thought for a minute there that Chris Rocha was going to make a mistake by picking it up with the defender so close to him, but you know, look, he's returned 2 punts already this season. What can you say? You got to give him credit. He knows how to bait those guys, then make the quick move, and he almost breaks this one upfield, Neil. But the reason why we're seeing a 7-0 lead, Neil, is because Blue Springs really has controlled the ball offensively. They've mixed it up for the most part, and they've gotten the control of the line of scrimmage, whereas Oak Park really haven't established their running game attack yet so far tonight.
Well, Matt Ament tries to establish it with a quarterback draw, but he is stuffed up the middle, and he is stuffed by Steve Counts.
Neil, when you got a guy like Mike Perrine inside, nose tackle, who weighs close to 300 pounds, they just push everything back. And look at him. He sees it happening. He just runs in there along with his fellow teammate Steve Counts, and they just stop that inside running game. And in order to beat Oak Park, you know, they rely heavily on the inside running game. You have to be able to stop the inside. And there's a big fixture in the middle who's capable of shutting down the inside run.
Capable of filling up your 27-inch TV there. 300 pounds almost. As he throws to the near sideline, Ament. The intended receiver there is Jason Smith. It's incomplete, bringing up a 3rd down 10.
And why Blue Springs has been effective, Neil, and not giving Oak Park an opportunity to get into their rhythm, Neil, is the fact that on 1st and 2nd down, they've been able to stop them for short gains, which has forced them into 3rd and long situations. And it's very difficult when you're 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 to convert those situations on a consistent basis.
Last time in this situation, the screen play was well set up. 3rd down and 10. Ball at the 46 of Oak Park.
And we have the same kind of formation here as we did with the screen. They got it spread apart.
Ament runs with it this time, going nowhere. The Blue Springs front is there. Perrine is in there. Counts is in there. Nathan Fulks in there. All of them to stop Ament, and he may have lost a yard on the play.
Neil, when they lined up in the same formation last time that they utilized the screen. So the Blue Springs defensive line is playing a little soft because they're anticipating the screen, so they really fall off their blocks down the line of scrimmage instead of reacting. They're sitting there reading the play, and they read the play well that time and stopped Ament as he was running the option down the line of scrimmage.
Pruitt and Knust back, and to kick it away, Chris Wright. Wright with pressure gets it away, angling toward the sideline and out of bounds. The official spots it at about the 28-yard line of Blue Springs. I wonder how this affects the punter. Looks like he's got some problems with his finger there. He's got him wrapped up. How does that affect? He used to be a punter, Duran.
That does affect him. You look how he gingerly tries to catch And then his drop, see, he's throwing the ball out there instead of dropping the ball down. His top finger cannot grab around that ball and hold the ball, so he's forced to drop it with one arm.
So Chris Wright back to the ice on the sideline. Blue Springs back to the offense at the 28. 1st and 10, 8:34 to play as Oak Park jumps. Let's see if they were drawn off.
Well, the one thing we've known about Nate Minnis is the fact that he is very effective at using the snap count to draw the defense off sides.
Dead ball, encroachment, defense.
We've seen him do it against Rockhurst a couple weeks ago. He uses that snap count very well, and that's due to the fact that he's a senior, he's been there before, and he knows how to effectively use his voice inflection to draw the defense off sides before the ball is snapped. That's why as a coach, you teach those guys, watch the ball, don't listen to the quarterback.
8:34 to go in the first half. The Blue Springs Wildcats with a 1st and 5, and is this ever dangerous in this offense to try to cover this thing? They give it to Wisdom up the middle. They have so many options, and Wisdom ahead for about 3 or 4 yards. Scott Cooper in there on the tackle for the Northmen. Also Muty in there.
So when you got a 1st and 5 advantage, you can run the ball because they're thinking that they're going to throw the football. They're in man-to-man coverage. That time, Nate Minnis read 5 men in the box, Neil, in that line of scrimmage per interior area, and he decided to run the ball, which was a smart call, and he picks up 4 yards.
Tell us again about what you mean when you say in the box, Duran.
Well, he's looking at the line of scrimmage, the framework, and as you can see now, there's 5 men inside the framework of the line of scrimmage, and now he's just basically calling his play off of that.
2nd down, 1. Minnis back to pass, pump fakes, looks downfield, lets it fly to Pruitt. Just over his hands at the 40-yard line of Oak Park. He was open as he cut underneath of the coverage. Mickey Wolverton, one of the folks in that coverage. Let's go down to Duke Fry for an injury update. Duke.
You guys were talking about Chris Wright, the punter, and the fact that he looked like he had a hand injury. Well, he dislocated a finger on the first punt of the ball game, and so he's continuing to punt, of course, but he has ice on it in between during the times he has to go back out there on the field.
All right, thanks, Duke. Brings up a 3rd down and 1 for Blue Springs. 7:44 to go first half. Give us the Wisdom, got some room. Just undercut by Waldman, or he would have had plenty of yards. And the 1st down is picked up by Blue Springs.
See the replay, just a quick trap here, Neil. You see the guard pull right there. It opens up the hole. Waldman comes up, makes a little shoestring tackle there, which saves Wisdom from maybe picking up some additional yards, but good call there, and especially that's what makes this run and shoot effective. When you get in those 3rd and 1 situations, you can basically do whatever you want.
Pruitt in motion. Wolverton follows him. Minnis barking out the instructions.
The reason he's doing this, Neil, because he knows there's the guys in motion, and basically they're going to play zone defense.
And it looks like he took too much time.
If you're watching out there, normally the situation is the guy runs with a guy that goes in motion.
Dead ball, illegal procedure, offense.
Chances are when he runs with him in motion, it's man-to-man coverage. When he doesn't go across with the guy, it's zone. So what it tells Minnis is he can tell whether it's man-to-man or zone defense. Then if he has a play that maybe won't work as well against the man, then he'll check the call that will work well, you know, against a zone coverage. So, you know, he's just reading the defense back there and making his call based on whether it's zone or whether it's man-to-man defense.
Well, it looks like Wolverton just goes wherever Pruitt goes. He's going to take him every play.
And so far tonight, he's done a fine job.
And again, jumping off sides, Oak Park, it looked like John Muty jumped. And we'll see if he was drawn off sides. Is that what usually happens when a good receiver in the NFL, for instance?
Ball, encroachment, defense.
Let's say a good receiver is opposing you this week. Do you put your best man-to-man guy on the best receiver in all situations most of the time?
Some teams do that, Neil. Some teams just let their corner stay on either side. But if you got a good one like we saw in the Super Bowl last year with Darrell Green, who matched up on Andre Reed the entire game, sometimes that's to your advantage if you got a great receiver. And Leroy Pruitt is a great receiver. He's a Division I prospect. You definitely want your best defender playing against him the entire night.
Wolverton on him again. Delivers to the right side, thrown to the near side. It's complete, just short of the first down. Adam O'Rourke on the catch. He's across midfield at the 49-yard line of Oak Park.
Number 9, Doug Bailey.
Doug Bailey also in there for Oak Park.
32, Wolfberg.
But what they're doing is Pruitt and Brady, the inside receivers, just running off. And then you'll see number 84 there, Adam O'Rourke, stop on the outside and just catch the little short pass for a 7-yard gain.
Second down and 4, 49-yard line of Oak Park. Wisdom on the quick handoff, and he looks to have the first down after the effort was kept going. He kept the legs driving, and the tackle in there by Bartholomew. No, it can't be Bartholomew. It's John Muty.
Wisdom right there makes a great cut in the backfield, Neil, because he just reads the block, cuts back up inside, and, you know, as a running back, the key to a great running back is vision. You must be able to see the hole. That time, he was able to see the hole, get up inside, and once he made a hit, the great running backs are able to make those additional yards, and he was able to pick up the first down even after he was hit short of it.
5:25 to go, first half. Blue Springs keeping this drive alive as we head toward the end of the first half. Again, the handoff, Wisdom, and again it's Waldman who comes up from his free safety position to stuff him, but not after a gain of about 5 or 6.
Actually, Waldman is just hanging around there, Neil, hanging around the line of scrimmage area, maybe showing that there's maybe 5, which might force Menace to call a run, but then he's up there right at the snap of the ball in position to make the play as the running back breaks through the hole.
Actually, a gain of 4 on the play, bringing up second down and 6 from the 43-yard line.
But what we're seeing, Neil, is this Blue Springs offense totally controlling the line of scrimmage and the time of possession on the clock.
On the fake, Menace rolls out, pump fakes, and he'll run for the first down. Knocked out of bounds at the 36-yard line, or actually the 31-yard line. Matt Ament ran him out.
Matt Ament runs him out, but an excellent fake that time by Menace, or shoving the ball in there. And that's where that running game is effective, Neil. If you're able to run the ball effectively, you know, you're shoving that ball up inside, sooner or later those guys are going to bite inside, and that's exactly what he did. Menace leading the team in rushing, 250 yards this year. He was the leading rusher last year as well. So here's a guy, as we mentioned earlier, is a double threat. I mean, he's all everything.
Well, he's accounted for over 1,400 yards this season, and he averages about 9 yards a rush. Back to pass, Menace, flag on the play. Fires to a wide open receiver, that's Wisdom. He makes a move and hits the ground at the 16-yard line, but the penalty is a hold against Blue Springs. Eric Hernandez helped to bring Wisdom down.
Captain.
Blue Springs is definitely going to have to correct this problem, Neil.
Okay, Captain, if you decline the penalty, it'll be first down.
Because they can't continue to go any further this year and play against good football teams and expect to win.
How difficult, though, is it for your offensive line when you have a scrambler like Nate Menace, who's such a threat to run, to not hold on the play? Because they don't always know where he is.
Offense, replay, first down.
They don't always know where he's going to be.
Well, Neil, I don't look at it as a disadvantage. I look at it as an advantage, because if a guy escapes you, you know you got a quarterback back there who can see it, number one, but also can make the necessary move to get out of that trouble and make a big play out of it. So why would you hold? If you get by him, your quarterback's smart enough, don't hold him, just try to peel back and make the block as Menace makes his block. So it's really an advantage to him, not a disadvantage.
So they have no excuse.
There's no excuse to hold.
4:22 to go first half, 1st and 26. Menace pump fakes, fires down the sideline. Pruitt is just shadowed by Wolverton.
Wolverton doing an exceptional job, Neil. The thing that I like about Wolverton is the fact that he stays inside out on the receiver and does not give Pruitt here an opportunity to make the fake and cut upside. See, he's there in excellent position. He can jam him right there because the quarterback's rolling out, but he stays inside to the ball. So it'd have to be a perfect pass in order for Menace to get that ball in there.
4:16 to go first half, 2nd and 26. Menace looks to throw near side, almost intercepted by Ament and then caught by O'Rourke. And he's out of bounds at about the 30-yard line.
Boy, that had 6 points written all over it. Yeah, that.
Another hold against the Wildcats.
I tell you. The highlight film right here. This is a tough throw for a high school quarterback, Neil. It's a deep out, but you look at the break there. God, you'd almost think that he'd intercept that ball. Great job of staying in bounds right there by Adam. And I tell you, it's a shame. O'Rourke makes a great catch, but it comes back. Now, Neil.
Holding. Offense. Replay second down.
You tell me, if you were the head coach for Blue Springs, would you not be upset in this situation? They had the ball at the 31-yard line with first down, inside a position to score some points. And now look at it. They're way back inside their own territory right now.
Well, it's either the third or fourth hold on this drive for Blue Springs. And it's just almost painful watching this thing. They keep trying to keep it alive, then it goes backwards. Now it's a second down 38 from their own 41.
Well, here's a team, Oak Park, that you're keeping in the football game. You're just giving them an opportunity to get the momentum and come back on it.
Menace back to pass again. Looks over the middle and fires down the middle to Bray. Makes a move at the 35. Still spinning and turning to the 30-yard line. That's what you do on second or third and 38. Eric Hernandez on the tackle. Also Doug Bailey in there.
Well, when you run the run and shoot, you got an opportunity to complete some passes down the field. This time, Oak Park does not get a good pass rush. The offensive line does a good job of giving Menace a chance to throw, and then Bray just comes open down the middle of the field because they're running receivers down vertically and then cutting the receiver underneath inside the zone, and he's seeing them and completing the pass.
Brings up 3rd and 9, thrown far sideline. It's caught. It looks like Leroy Pruitt over there. Or actually, it's Eric Young who made the catch. And that'll bring up a 4th down and 1. Eric Hernandez on the coverage. So 4th and 1 after it was 2nd and 38.
I tell you, Menace doing a great job. There's a blocking there by Wisdom, which cuts off the penetration. He just sets up and fires the ball out there. That time, Young should have just kept turning up the field and trying to get as much yards as he can instead of stopping, coming back and give that defender an opportunity to make the tackle short of the first down.
Well, this week the NFL is featured twice on TNT. Sunday night at 6:30, it's the Los Angeles Rams at the New Orleans Saints. And on Thursday night at 6:30, the Detroit Lions travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. TNT and American Cablevision and Jones Intercable bringing you the best in NFL action. Well, Nate Menace just won't let this drive die.
No, Neil, and what Blue Springs is doing, providing they pick up this first down, there's only 3 minutes left to go in the half, so they've controlled the game. And 4th down conversions tonight, Blue Springs is 1 of 2, they're 50%. And anytime you got a Menace back there in a throwing situation, you have to assign a person to him because he can make some big plays by running the football, as we've seen so far.
And that successful 4th down conversion was a touchdown that Wisdom took over, and that's the score in the game, 7-0. Here is another 4th down situation. Let's call it 4th and 2 at the 24-yard line of Oak Park. Menace looking near sideline. No one open, so he'll run with it, and he'll get the first down. Menace ahead to about the 17 on the play. He picks up the first down, and he's stopped in there by Doug Bailey.
That's what I mean. You have to assign a person to Nate Menace because he rolls out, he strings the defense out. They think they've got him covered from the outside. His offensive lineman do a good job of blocking and sealing the backside, and he sees that hole, cuts up and look at him and dodge for the first down. That's why he goes for it on 4th down with 2 or 3 yards to go, because he knows that Menace is capable of making those types of plays.
And gives you so many options out there. Now it's 1st and 10, inside shuffle pass. This is Pruitt. And my goodness, look at the quickness as he's inside the 10 to the 9-yard line.
Not only the quickness, Neil, but the strength at 5'9", 170 pounds. The strength in Leroy Pruitt is in his legs. He never stops them from moving, and that way it allows him to break tackles. You see receiving yards, he's averaging 13.3 yards a reception, and that's just outstanding for a guy who last year, Neil, I tell you, went out for track so that he could improve his speed, and so far it's been very effective for him this year.
2:07 to play first half. Blue Springs driving with the football. They at 7-0. Let's mark the ball at the 10-yard line where Pruitt was down on a gain of 8. Wisdom the lone setback. Pruitt in motion out of the run and shoot offense with 3 receivers to the left side. Wisdom and Menace connect in the backfield. And the play goes for a loss of 2. Chad Tenney on the tackle. Also John Muty in there.
Tenney and Muty bottling up, but it's just miscommunication in the backfield between Menace and Wisdom there. In this situation, you have to make sure that you've got the right handoff. Menace thinks he's supposed to take an inside handoff, and Wisdom thinks he's taking the outside handoff, and they collide with each other.
And real fortunate there's no fumble on the play. Loss of 2, 3rd and 4. Ball at the 12-yard line. Menace looking to throw. And he's running out of the pocket again. Down inside the 5 at about the 2-yard line. And he picks up the first down.
Oak Park that time got caught with a blitz, Neil. Matt Ament coming with the blitz. Menace showing that great quickness and speed that he has. A lot of people think he's not fast. He doesn't have that speed and quickness. But look at this, Neil. There's a defensive lineman trying to run him down. He's laboring a little bit, but he's trying to run him down. But Menace has enough speed and quickness to get outside and get down there to about the 2-yard line.
Well, that's Rob Seeley at 280 trying to chase down Nate Menace.
That's why it's always good to have a mobile quarterback who can escape rushers.
Ball marked at the 1. Wisdom met in the backfield. Seeley was in there. Ament met him head on as well for Oak Park.
And there's Ament coming up with another stop right there, making a big play. He missed a tackle that time. The last play, previous play on Nate Menace, but he makes the play that time. And here's a guy who's playing both ways. He's a good athlete. He makes big plays, and there he is, wrapping him up, tackling, and driving the man backwards.
And that is a loss of 2 yards as Ament in there for the big hit along with Seeley. 46 seconds to play, bringing up a 2nd down and goal. ESPN always has the best in college football excitement with a Saturday triple header this Saturday. Illinois at Ohio State starts it off, then that's followed by Notre Dame at Pittsburgh at 6:30, then Stanford at UCLA on the West Coast. American Cablevision and Jones Intercable coming through with the best in sports action.
You know, Neil, that's why that last play is very evident why I believe in that philosophy that you play your best players both ways in high school football, because that gives you an opportunity to make some big plays, and you see Matt Ament come up with a big play. But you look at the time of possession in this quarter, it's just ridiculous that they've held on to the ball that long.
Ament looking near sideline, lets it fly into the end zone, and it's out of the end zone as he was throwing this one away. Again, Wolverton is all over Leroy Pruitt. Flag on the play again. And could it be another hold? That's got to be 5 penalties on this drive.
5 penalties, but they're all major penalties for Blue Springs. They've all been holding calls, and that really takes you back, and it's a major penalty, Neil, and you can't afford these when you're at the 1-yard line.
They'll use the hands. Offense. Replay 2nd down.
You're at the 1-yard line, and you're holding, and you push it back, even though it could be an advantage for the running shoot because it gives them more room to work with, and we're being positive in this situation.
Second down, 22. Menace got Pruitt. Pruitt wrapped up at the 11-yard line on some big hitting by Wolverton and also Ament.
Wolverton and Ament over there, but just a drop back pass here. They run a clear out with Bray down the middle of the field, and then there's Pruitt right here just sitting down on the sideline.
And on 3rd and goal, the pass is deflected by Chad Wolfer. Brings up 4th and goal from the 10-yard line, and the field goal unit is coming on.
You have to get your hands up in high school football, especially when you're guarding against a quarterback who doesn't have the side. He throws sidearm. All he does is get that arm up right there and bats down the ball.
Only 11 seconds remaining first half. You know, They say you can call holding on every play. I mean, does the coaching staff have a right to be upset with that many holding calls on that drive?
Well, if they're clearly holding, which they're in the backfield and there's a guy seriously escaping now, if they're in the framework of the line of scrimmage, Neil, I could see where you'd have a problem with that, but these are holding calls that are in the backfield.
Right, and Hodson kicks it through, and that makes it 10-0 Blue Springs. And the Oak Park defense, you have to give them a little credit as well. I mean, they come away with only 3 points there.
You know, they're on the field the entire second quarter practically, Neil, and then through all the adversity, coming up with the penalties that Blue Springs had, they still were able to stop them, even when the ball's at the 1-yard line, stop them from getting into the end zone and forcing them to kick a field goal.
That's right.
So Oak Park has to be happy.
Think about some of those big plays with Ament stuffing at the line and Seeley, Wolfer knocking down a pass. So the Oak Park defense really stands tall for Keith Ross on the drive that, well, it seemed like we had another birthday during that drive. 7 seconds remaining in the first half.
The only good thing for Blue Springs, they get the 3 points, but more importantly, the one thing they do is they eat up all the time off the clock in the second quarter. So with maybe one possession in the quarter for Oak Park, when your offense doesn't have the ball, they can't score. So it's an advantage for Blue Springs, even though they kicked the 3 points.
With 11 seconds, or actually 7 seconds left, Key and Rocha are deep for Oak Park, and Guy Hodson to kick it off for Blue Springs. The Wildcats leading 10-0. First half of play here at North Kansas City Stadium. Oak Park and Blue Springs for the leadership in the Suburban Big Six Conference. This one is fielded by Key on the far sideline. And he runs into the pile at about the 30-yard line as 2 seconds remain on the clock. Nathan Folk in there on the stop for Blue Springs. Well, 2 seconds, my man.
2 seconds.
What's happening here? I know Pat Hayden, every time this comes up, he is screaming for the offense to go ahead and try something big.
In this situation, you can't try anything big. Well, the clock runs out as soon as they step on the field. So
I was setting you up, man.
Pat Hayden, you know, his plan doesn't work here tonight. But, you know, Oak Park goes in at halftime, Neil, 10-0 down. It could have been a lot worse, so it all looks up for them.
Our score at halftime, Blue Springs 10 and Oak Park nothing. We'll be back with some halftime activities right after these messages.
It's the last play of the game, folks, and the Rusty Eck Ford team, battered by the other dealers, needs a touchdown to win. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes Ford Man. He takes the snap, fades back, throws deep. What a move! He's open! He's open! He's open! He's got it! He's got it! Rusty Eck Ford beats the other dealers. Rusty Eck Ford, Lincoln Mercury in Leavenworth, Kansas.
This is a Kansas City Alive update. Coming up on Monday's Kansas City Alive, we'll continue our United Way campaign and feature another United Way agency. Next, Nancy Dumoff joins us with Kansas City Health Beat. She'll talk about hospice care of Mid-America. Following that, Michelle Newman will focus on Christmas in October on Just for Kicks. And then Larry Levinson will be here with another edition of our environmental series, Our Living World. Joy Everhart will close up the show with the Craft Corner. She'll talk about ceramics. Join us at 6 p.m. Monday for Kansas City Alive. Stay with us. Weather is next.
Radio check, 1, 2, 3. 7 miles northeast with the cardiac.
Roger, Ronan, thanks. Hold those two F-16 short. Switch to ILS.
With an Air Force ROTC college scholarship, you can go as far as your talent and drive take you. Aim high, Air Force.
Tonight's forecast calls for clouds to return with a low of 44 degrees. Tomorrow on Saturday, more clouds than sun, and it will be windy with a high of 55 to 60. Join us for Kansas City Alive at 6 p.m. on Monday here on KCCP.
Back at halftime, Blue Springs leading at 10-0 over Oak Park. And Blue Springs really, just as far as the time of possession goes, just controlling the game. And here's how they got on the board. This pass to Chris Bray.
Well, Menace did a fine job the entire first half of being patient back there and wait for his receivers to uncover in the zones. And there's Bray making a big play, which led to an eventual score for Blue Springs.
And that eventual score came on a 4th and 1, and it's Ben Wisdom going over.
Wisdom's been very effective so far in the first half, Neil, churning out those tough inside yards, and here he knocks it in the end zone for the touchdown.
The drive that wouldn't end finally did with this field goal, Guy Hodson nailing it. And your score at halftime is Blue Springs 10 and Oak Park nothing, and the stats just dominated by the Wildcats.
Look at the stats. You know, I would have to say 3/4 of this game Blue Springs has had the football, and it's very evident in the stats. They've only had 14 plays, you know, as far as the Northmen go. Actually more than that, 22, but they haven't had many opportunities.
The fans await the second half kickoff. We'll be back with it after this.
It's the last play of the game, folks, and the Rusty Eck Ford team, battered by the other dealers, needs a touchdown to win. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes Ford Man. He takes the snap, fades back, throws deep. What a move! He's open! He's open! He's open! He's got it! He's got it! Rusty Eck Ford beats the other dealers. Rusty Eck Ford, Lincoln Mercury in Leavenworth, Kansas.
And back at North Kansas City Stadium, awaiting the second half kickoff. Blue Springs leading at 10-0. You know, very surprising, Duran. The field conditions out there, very wet as we talked about on the field. No turnovers in the first half.
No turnovers, which is very surprising in a game like this with the conditions like that. But they've been concentrating on holding the football, and that's what you have to do in a big game. The bigger the game, the more you concentrate. Unfortunately for Blue Springs, they've had a tremendous amount of holding calls in the first half, and they're going to have to eliminate those problems because they could have easily had 3 touchdowns in the first half, but those holding calls really pushed them back out of their scoring zone.
The defense, I was going to say, of Oak Park. Well, before we get to that, let's go down to Duke Fry. Duke, where are you?
I'm down about the goal line right now, probably the best field conditions on the whole field. It's gotten a lot worse here after the first half. One thing to note, down on the field, at the end of the field that I'm in, the area inside the 10 is in much worse condition down here than at the opposite end of the field. It could play a factor late in the ball game. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, Duke, thank you. And he doesn't look a bit sloppy down there. No mud around the just ivory white shoes he's got on there.
You look at the, Neil, and I think about this game so far, glaring stat. 12 plays, only run 12 plays by Oak Park in the first half. That's an embarrassment for only 23 total yards.
Well, the defense has done a pretty solid job, though, for Oak Park. You know, they had that long drive, and then they held them, kept them out of the end zone. So a little momentum going in maybe for the defense, and they get the football here as Hodson will kick it off to Key and Rocha.
Well, this first series for Oak Park has to be a tempo builder, Neil, because they haven't been on the field much. Their defense has been out there most of the entire first half, so they really have to come out and set the tempo strong here in the second half.
And the left footer Hodson kicks it off, taken by Rocha. Rocha fights his way across the 25-yard line to the 26, and that's where the Northmen will start on offense as Wayne McGinnis looks on with a 10-0 lead. And Matt Ament, the junior quarterback, in to take control for Oak Park.
The thing that was very effective for Oak Park in the first half, Neil, when they had a chance offensively, were the quick-hitting dive plays up the middle, the quick-hitting traps, and then with the idea of throwing the short passes. They have to get back into that mode so that they can sustain some drives here in the second half.
Quick pass to the near sideline, caught by Barber. Gets to the outside. Some good hitting across the 30 to the 32-yard line. And it's Mark Corbin on the stop for Blue Springs.
Well, there's taking a suggestion of mine, Neil. Throw him the quick pass and get it out there to some of those good athletes on the outside. Here's Barber making the catch, but he does a good job of turning it up and picking up about 5 or 6 yards on the play.
Gain of 6, second down 4, ball at the 32. As Oak Park comes out with a little bit different look, split backfield again this time, and again in motion to the other side, it's Barber. And they give up the middle, and that is Cooper, who is crunched at the line of scrimmage by Jeff Simpson, who read that play all the way.
Simpson read the play, but the defense, it's a good call, Neil. They lined up and they shot the gaps. They blitzed back there. You see the linebacker from behind cheating up. They close in on the gap, squeeze them down, and makes the big play right there, Simpson. But they were blitzing on that play. Second and short yardage is a good down to run that blitz out there at the offense, and they did that way. That time out, expecting to run, and they were able to stop it.
Simpson also the second leading tackler on this team for Blue Springs. Ament rolling right, looking to pass, and he's clobbered in the backfield. Nathan Folk.
Leading tackler on this team, hid behind the line of scrimmage, those front guys up front, and came from the outside to contain Ament on the run, because Blue Springs knows that when Oak Park has a long situation, they're going to try to get Ament out on the corner. And there you see Folk right there coming up outside, containing him and making the big tackle.
Folk only had 81 tackles coming in here, the leading tackler for the Wildcats. Bob Knust back along with Leroy Pruitt.
And what we saw is another situation, third down and medium, where Blue Springs really did a fine job of holding Oak Park.
A high kick, bounding backwards and then forward again across the midfield stripe to the 48-yard line. So Wayne McGinnis and the Blue Springs Wildcats have excellent field position at their own 48 after holding 3 and out against Oak Park on their first possession.
I'd say I don't know how many 3 and out situations here that we've seen by this Blue Springs defense, but they've been awfully tough tonight. 9 minutes on the clock. They only held the ball for about less than a little over 2 minutes, Neil, in that drive, and we'll keep an eye on that clock and see how long Blue Springs controls this football.
Blue Springs really mixing it up on first down with the run and pass. Menace looking to throw over the middle, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver is Leroy Pruitt, and again Wolverton is right there with him.
Second and 10.
Wolverton playing man-to-man on Leroy Pruitt, an outstanding athlete, and Wolverton is shutting him down tonight. He's only had maybe 1 or 2 catches so far in the game, but he's playing excellent inside-out coverage on Leroy Pruitt, and he's just sitting there hanging on him, in position to make the play.
Second down 10 from the 48. Pruitt in motion. Menace looking downfield, now throwing over the middle, tipped, and almost intercepted by Waldman.
Nearly intercepted by number 7, Matt Waldman. Incomplete pass, 3rd and 10.
Well, that time Menace tried to squeeze it in there when it might not have been there.
Menace has shown a tendency all night, Neil. Once he gets it out, if he doesn't see that outside read, normally it opens up back in the middle. And there's Bray coming back across the middle. The ball gets tipped. There's 2 defenders there. And there's Matt Waldman almost intercepting the ball.
How many times was that play open in the first half, though? And look at what Oak Park's done in the second half.
They shut it down, and that's where you make adjustments defensively, and they've come out and made some adjustments to stop that play.
Menace back to pass again, throws to the far sideline, knocked away there by Chad Wolfer.
Down by number 32, Chad Wolfer.
What an impressive stand by the Oak Park defense.
Chad Wolfer reading the eyes. He's dropping into zone coverage back here on the left side of the screen. And there he's just reading the quarterback and gets out. Gets out and knocks it down. So it was a good job by Chad.
Let's go down to Duke Fry. Duke.
Well, I'll tell you one reason Wolfer couldn't intercept that ball. Look at his right hand. He has a cast. He has a semi-rigid cast on the hand. He's playing with a broken thumb. It's tough to grab hold of a football.
But he's been using it like a Louisville Slugger out there tonight as he's knocked a few away. Rocha fields this one inside the 10 and then goes inside his 5. And then he's hammered as he crosses the 10-yard line.
And the guy down there, Leroy Pruitt, gets a little of his own medicine. He's got a little shake and bake there and missed the tackle down on Rocha.
Folk and Biebel in on the tackle.
There's a stop move. Pruitt just overrunning the play. Rocha turning back up. But that was an excellent punt that time by Nate Minnis. Hung it up high, dropped it into the corner, cut the field down for his defenders to come down there and cover the punt.
1st and 10 from the 11-yard line for the Northmen. I formation. Ament on the option play, pitch back, and wide open down the field. It's a foot race. Caleb Barber will win it. He goes the distance, touchdown Northman. 89 yards.
Now we have a ball game again. Where they say speed kills, and there you've seen a fine example of speed.
Caleb Horner, the junior, Duran, and he just tripled their offensive output tonight.
Well, you know, Neil,
anytime, quadrupled it.
Anytime you have the option, that threat, Neil, anytime you can bust a big one, and that time they got it in the seam, and, you know, what more can you say? He took it and was gone. Caleb Barber.
And Bailey on to kick the extra point as it's 10-6 right now. Blue Springs leading it. Now a flag on the play.
Delay a game penalty against the Northmen.
So Caleb Horner is doesn't even look tired, actually, Duran, because he was not threatened once he got out in the open. He was just all alone and took it the distance and immediately took the helmet off because he's on the game of the week.
He deserves it, Neil. Anytime you run 89 yards like that, you deserve to be the primetime player of the game.
They move Bailey back, and the kick is still up and good. 10-7. And just when you thought the Northmen's offense was dead, it's resurrected by this option play.
Well, the option play is very dangerous, and you'll see Ament coming down the line of scrimmage because you have a triple option there. See, the defender comes in on Ament. He pitches right at the right time. He gets pit. They seal off right there. It creates a zone right there. May have been a little push in the back there, but the referee was at a bad angle. But Caleb Barber, there's no one in the secondary that's going to catch him. That's where you have a situation where if you have a Leroy Pruitt or somebody like that out there on the defense, those are the type of guys who can maybe run after him and stop that play from going the distance. But you give Caleb Barber a lot of credit. He ran the distance with it.
So Horner into the end zone for the touchdown. 10-7, Blue Springs leads it. And mercy, we got a new game here at North Kansas City Stadium. Billy Grimes and Leroy Pruitt and Knust back to receive the kick from Bailey. And it's kicked to Knust at the 10. And the Northmen are pumped up as they descend on Knust at the 25-yard line. Well, now, let's see how the Blue Springs offense responds here, Duran. You know, the thing that really was noticeable is we'll look in the defense. Derek Bland of Oak Park appears to become somewhat of a shadow back there in the secondary, and he was really plugging up that middle.
He is plugging up the middle. Also, Matt Wallman was coming up and plugging up the middle some holes too. So the option, what they're going to do is drop in the zones and give them the short stuff. Just don't give them the big play.
And the inside shuffle pass, that's Bray, and he's ahead for only a yard. And let's go down to Duke Fry. Duke.
Well, Leroy Pruitt's down here on the bench right now. As you can see, he's getting his ankle retaped. I'm not sure if there's a problem or if just the tape job came apart, but he came off the bench, or came off the field after that last series and is having that ankle reworked, and we'll see how soon he gets back out, but he's missing from that offense right now.
And Mickey Wolverton getting a breather there maybe. He's had to tangle with Pruitt all night.
And done a fine job of it too.
Menace rolling left, looking to throw without his #1 receiver in there. Now running to the near sideline and just lofts it out. Flag on the play.
Flag on the play.
Got a clip.
Well, the penalties have killed Blue Springs in this ball game. Had 5 in the first half, 4 of them on that final drive, many of them holding calls.
And here's where when you don't have an effective running game, Neil, it hurts you in the running shoot, because that time, 2nd and long, he scrambles out. Blue Springs is trying to block. They get excellent penetration, Oak Park does, and then they clip, cause a penalty. But if you got a good running attack, 2nd down, you run the football, you pick up some yards, you're 3rd and short, and you're able to possibly convert it.
So the clip is against Blue Springs. Let's look again.
Just a rollout here, the penetration, 35 coming up the middle, and you'll see him right there with the little push in the back right there, and the officials right there. We've seen those kind of blocks all night long, Neil, and that one goes and puts Blue Springs back. But we know that they're capable of converting, but how many times can you do that and convert the play?
So after the penalty, it brings up 2nd down 9 from the 26-yard line. That can't be right. It's got to be more like 19. Haven't stepped it off yet, and the Northmen are just whacking out.
My brother with the funky dreads.
25 yards, Wildcats.
I saw him administering that beating to himself in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, he was in there
with the watercolors. And this one's complete over the middle to O'Rourke.
Number 9 for Oak Park makes the tackle, Doug Bailey.
Nate Menace here making a quick play, the pass, the slant, right in between the linebacker, couldn't get over there in time, and makes the play.
3rd and 9 for the Blue Springs team.
6:19 to go in the 3rd quarter. And Blue Springs ahead by 3, 3rd down and 9. Menace looking over the middle, got his receiver Young, makes the move, gets the 1st down, and he's down at the 42. Jason Smith on the tackle. And again, Blue Springs comes down and picks it up on 3rd or 4th and short.
Here's Eric Young. He's a senior. He's been around for a number of years, making the big play for Blue Springs. They needed a key play in that situation. And when you have a guy like Pruitt out, you go to your other guy, your big play guy, Eric Young, who's a senior here.
Underneath 6 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. 1st and 10, Blue Springs at the 42. Hand off to a new back in the ball game. And running right, it's Randy Head. And he is ahead for about 5.
Doug Bailey.
Doug Bailey that time coming up, making a big stick. Here on the running back, number 42 for Blue Springs, Randy Head. And look how he just comes right, lowers that helmet right at the ball right there, turns him over, and Head's going to have to leave the game. Right in the thigh, Neil. That was a good hit right there.
So back on for Randy Head is Ben Wisdom. Ball at the 48-yard line, 2nd and 4, Wildcats. Like some movement on the play. I didn't see if the flag flew or not. Yes, it did. It's just kind of hidden by the Oak Park sideline. And Chad Tenney makes the stop for Oak Park, but we have a flag on the play, and it's against Blue Springs. That'll be procedure against the wideout to the near side, I think.
Against Blue Springs.
Illegal motion on the offense. Declined. 3rd down.
Penalty is declined. It will be 3rd and 4.
So 3rd down 4 as they decline the penalty.
Well, that's an interesting call there to decline the penalty. I would have taken the 5 yards and forced them into a 2nd and 9 situation the way this defense is. And all long yardage situations so far tonight, Oak Park has been very effective.
They fake the shuffle pass. Menace sprints for the first down, and he's got it. Midfield and down inside the 45-yard line.
That could have been a mistake by not taking that penalty, Neil, because we know when Blue Springs is in a 3rd and short situation, 3rd and 4, that Menace is the type of guy that converts those types of situations, and here he does it once again. I would have taken the penalty, forced him into 2nd and long, but here's the fake inside counter play, and Menace gets out on the corner, and we know he has the speed and quickness enough to pick up the first down. That might have been a poor penalty selection there by Coach Keith Ross.
And he took a bath in the mud on the sideline as chunks of the turf were flying everywhere. And this one is incomplete, intended for O'Rourke, and in the coverage, it's Jason Smith for Oak Park.
Jason Smith breaking up on the coverage, but Menace, you know, you got to have a strong arm to make that throw. And Menace has a strong arm, but that is really, you have to be on the money. Anything short, you're going to miss. And there's Leroy Pruitt back in the football game, and they're going to need his presence there.
That's somebody he's probably missed on the last couple of plays. Menace looking to pass, got his receiver, it's O'Rourke, and he gets away from the tackler. Inside the 40 to the 38, he was finally wrapped up by Mickey Wolverton and others for the Northmen, but O'Rourke got away from that first hit.
For the young players that are out there, you watch O'Rourke here. Watch how he concentrates on the ball. See, he looks it in his hands and makes a catch. He's not trying to run before the ball gets there. He looks that ball all the way in and then makes his move after he's caught the ball. Fine job by Adam O'Rourke.
Underneath 4 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. Menace, pump fakes, now lofts it toward the sideline, and it's incomplete. The intended receiver, Bray, and I think Chris wishes he would have hung on to that one as he had it in his hands.
Oh, Menace is disgusted back there. He knows he had a big play that time to Chris Bray. The ball was thrown perfectly on the outside of the defender. He's not looking. It's in perfect position there, and he just drops it. That time we see an example of Adam O'Rourke concentrating on the ball, and Chris Bray maybe taking his eyes off us just for a split second.
And Menace will now punt it as it brings up a 4th and 6, or at least he drops back into punt formation. And deep is Rocha.
Boy, that was a big play for
Rocha at the 11, and he's racked up right there.
Yeah, that was a big play right there for Oak Park, stopping the Blue Springs. Blue Springs was controlling that football there, and they were able to stop them and force them in the punt. They didn't put any points on the board. And we know now it's a situation where we saw one go the distance, possibly enough. Running that option play, they could probably take another one too.
So the ball marked at the 13 with 3:37 to go in the 3rd quarter. Oak Park has the football. They trail it by 3, 10-7. And after the 88-yard run, I guess we're calling it, by that was Barber that went the distance. They are right back in this one, but I'll tell you what, Cooper is just planted on his back.
Cooper's playing on his back, and there's Simpson coming up, stepping up, and making the big hit there on Scott Cooper.
It was Nathan Folk and also Ryan Allenbaugh on the stop.
Number 55, Nathan Folk makes the tackle.
That's a gain of 1.
Gain of 2.
Or make it to 2nd and 8 at the 15.
I tell you, Blue Springs, except for that one play defensively where they gave up the big play, they've been really solid and strong up front, up the middle, Neil, tonight.
Amen on 2nd and 8. And he looking to pass, and he is racked up in the backfield. Back there is Counts, and he's the one that comes up with the sack.
Counts, 2nd and long situation. You know you're going to have to pass the ball or throw a draw, and they just come with the blitz right there. Here comes Counts up the middle right there, making the big stop along with Aaron Warren, who provides pressure from the outside. But that's what you have to do. You get a team in the hole, you got to keep them there. And good defenses are able to keep teams in the hole, and now they're forced to either throw or run a screen or a draw right here, and now it's to the advantage of the defense.
Second man through is Barber, not this time. 4 and 5 Blue Springs Wildcats in there to make the stop.
Neil, when you hold a team down here like this, you know, the good thing that comes out of it is field position. Now Blue Springs knows it's going to go back. They're going to punt, Oak Park is, and they're going to have excellent field position on this ensuing punt. And that's what you try to do as a defense when you get a team backed up into their own territory. You want to keep them there. You don't let them out.
Now remember the injured hand to Chris Wright, and he's punting from his own end zone this time. And back deep, it's Leroy Pruitt. And this one kicked right to Pruitt, calls the fair catch at the 41. Well, that's Knust that makes the catch. Pruitt not back that time. And actually mark it at the 42 of Oak Park with 1 minute and 8 seconds to play in the third quarter.
Neil, we talk about field position. And why is field position so important in a football game? Because here we see Blue Springs with excellent field position. They've only got to go 40 yards to get a score. That previous series, Oak Park would have had to have gone 80 yards to score a touchdown. That is the difference in field position. The chances of you going 80 yards are far less than you going 40 yards and scoring the point. You only need to get 20 yards when you're 40 yards out to possibly get a field goal. So field position plays an important part in the game, and it is right now with Blue Springs.
Blue Springs has the field position, and Menace looking to throw, and it's intercepted! Intercepted by Derek Bland, and he's the guy that we talked about that they just placed right in the middle of the field and has kind of been spying on Menace.
He's been spying on Menace, sitting out there, reading his eyes, and makes the big interception on Menace. And here you are sitting out, and there he's just spying on Menace. Where he runs, so does he. And there he is, making the big interception there. I mean, you can't say enough. Opportunistic time, making the big play, Derek Bland. And now the field position switches a little bit here, Neil, plus the momentum.
And what a nice adjustment by Oak Park here in the second half. And the middle of the field just hasn't been as open as it was in the first half. And this is Barber just hammered in the backfield by Chad Pogue.
Chad Pogue hammered, but Jason Smith, you see him walking back to the huddle with his head down. He has to block. He's the outside receiver. He must block the defender coming in up there to hit him. He's just standing there. You must get a block on a quick screen, and he wasn't able to do it that play. And that's why that play was unsuccessful for Oak Park.
23 seconds to go, third quarter. Oak Park with the football, loss of 3 on the play, 2nd and 13 from the 32-yard line. And Ament is just, they form the teepee around him in the backfield and come up with the sack. Perrine, Counts, Warren, all of them in there on the play.
All of them in there. 2nd and long again. Blue Springs comes up, puts pressure on the quarterback, and they sack him once again, Neil. So here we are in a 3rd and long situation at the end of the quarter. But one thing we must point out is something that we saw in the Rockhurst game. Here's a tight ball game. The score is close. You got 2 good teams playing. Blue Springs has not outdone any team as far as the scoreboard goes, as far as points, and now the pressure is back on Blue Springs.
And let's go down to Duke Fry. Duke.
I'll tell you, one thing we talked about earlier in the ball game was fan support, I think. You talk about the crowd over here. There may not be a lot of Blue Springs fans, but listen, when they start pounding on these metal bleachers, pounding the metal bleachers for me, folks. They put out a lot of noise, a lot of support over here. Their team's still winning. They've got to put up some good defensive stand right now, though.
Yeah, but when you have to give them a cue, Duke, they're still going.
They were going great until I asked them to do it.
They're camera shy. And they're hanging over the edge on the far sideline. Blue Springs right now faced with a 3rd and 15 against this Oak Park offense.
Neil, we talk about the pressure, and Rockhurst put enormous amounts of pressure on Blue Springs. Their defense is holding up, Blue Springs' defense is. But the onus is going to be on the Blue Springs offense from here in this final corner.
As we begin quarter number 4, the pitch back, and he wants to throw it. Barber now will tuck it under, and he's ahead for a short gain on the play. As the parabolic mic takes a beating.
Good job by Knust here. Bob Knust and number 44, Brendan Hart, for staying on their men. They're playing man-to-man. Don't leave your man, and there's good pressure up the field right there. 65 coming up the field with good pressure, Aaron Warren, and they're making the tackle short of the first down. But the two defensive backs on the short side of the field made the play, Neil, because they stuck with their man.
Chris Wright gets the kick away, and this is Knust to the 47, and again, the good field position for Blue Springs. Nate Stevenson in the stop for Oak Park.
Good field position for Blue Springs. That's exactly what they wanted. They have to, you know, thank their defense for putting them in that kind of position after that interception. Oak Park had an opportunity to maybe turn the tables if they're able to sustain a drive, at least back Blue Springs up into some poor field position. They were not able to do that, so Blue Springs takes over, and that interception turns out not to be as big a play as we thought it might be.
Menace rolling near side, fires. Young can't get the completion. Flag on the play. Getting a hand in there is Eric Hernandez to slap it away after it initially hit Young.
Hernandez thinking he's made a good play, and then all of a sudden he looks and there's a yellow flag on the field. And the reason why that flag is on the field, as he comes up to make the play, he's wrapping his arm around there, and the official's standing right there. You see his arm on the back of him right there, and that's why that call was made. Little maybe ticky-tacky, but the official's right there.
Well, I know you don't like those little ticky-tack interference calls, do you?
No, I don't. They'll never have and never will.
You'll always side with the defense.
That's exactly right.
10:53 to go, fourth quarter. 1st and 10 after the penalty. As Blue Springs is finally the beneficiary of a penalty tonight. It's plagued them so much this evening. Ball at the 38-yard line. Menace looking, pumping, throwing, and the coverage is there. Bailey is all over O'Rourke.
Intended for number 84.
The out and up, the hitch and go pattern as we call it. Menace dropping back, pump faking right there to the outside guy, and then there's Bailey coming up with good inside position, making the play on Bray.
You know, Duran, the defensive secondary play has just been outstanding tonight for this Oak Park team. They don't have the kind of pressure that, let's say, Rockhurst put on the quarterback. And the secondary has had some nice coverage.
Well, the coverage down the field has been excellent, and that's the sign of a good football team. Even though you don't have the rush, you got some talented kids who play man-to-man defense extremely well.
Menace lets it fly over the middle, caught by Pruitt. And Wolverton brings him down at about the 6-yard line. So finally they get a guy open in the second half, and Menace just delivered that pass beautifully. But also Pruitt's been missing much of the second half. He hasn't been in the game.
He's been missing, but he's been running routes up the field and outside. This time he comes in underneath, and you'll see Matt Wallman right there, who's supposed to have inside coverage, kind of gets sucked up inside, and Pruitt slides in behind him, and Menace does a great job of finding the open receiver again and hitting it on the target.
So Menace delivers the strike to Pruitt. With 10:25 left, they have the football at the 6-yard line. Menace rolling near sideline, throwing in the end zone, touchdown! Chris Bray. It can happen that quickly with this Blue Springs offense.
Well, Bray running an excellent outside route on Matt Waldman and just turns it up outside, but Menace makes an excellent throw, Neil. He put it right on the money, and there was nothing a defender could do. He's playing inside technique, and he throws that ball outside perfectly.
You're not going to see two finer throws than the last two he just packaged together, and Hodson delivers the extra point, and now it's 17-7 with 10:12 to play.
Two big plays, one set up by Menace to Leroy Pruitt, and then here to Bray, and Menace clear throwing lane, Neil, and that's what you have to guard against, the throwing lane, and how he whips it out there to the outside. No chance. Bray's in the end zone for the touchdown.
And the Blue Springs sideline excited about that, as Wayne McGinnis has his team take it into the end zone for their second touchdown tonight and lead the Oak Park Northmen 17-7.
Neil, what was missing out of that drive?
What, a running play or a penalty?
Penalty. When they don't commit penalties, they score points. They put points on the time. They didn't have a penalty in that drive. They got excellent field position, marched it down the field, and they scored a touchdown.
Rocha and Key back deep for Oak Park, and Guy Hodson to kick it off for Blue Springs.
You know, another thing to look at too, Neil, is the fact that the Oak Park defense has been out on the field a long time tonight. You got to look at maybe possibly a fatigue factor right now setting in, because they've got guys going both ways, and they've been out there quite a long time, especially on defense.
Well, and they've played a great game. The
Oh,
Oak
yeah,
Park
there's no
defense
question.
has really played a fine game tonight. The Northmen find themselves in a position they really haven't been in this season. They're undefeated, 5-0, and have been blowing out people all season long. A whistle on the kickoff and a flag on the field. And it looks like it might be an offsides against the kick team. It's dropped at the 40.
I believe that was number 43, who's just in the game for Leroy Pruitt. A little excited there, Neil.
Kicking team, 5-yard penalty.
Is a little excited coming off the bench, and with the clean uniform, and goes a little bit down there, a little anxious before the kick.
Blocking better than the Rockers game.
And Nate Minton, well, there's the comment. They're blocking better than the Rockhurst game.
But there's a difference, though. Rockhurst, you know, they brung some heat on them up front, and they've got some players over there at Rockhurst up front, especially, you know, that can bring the heat.
So Hodson to do it all over again from the 35. Again,
but you
that
know,
is key.
that's what every quarterback can say. Little blocking. Minnis was getting pounded in the Rockhurst game. He didn't have much of an opportunity to sit back there and pick out his receivers like he is tonight.
Here comes Key across the 25 to the 26. And he is met there by Simpson for Blue Springs.
And he is right. His offensive line has blocked a lot better.
Well, the Oak Park offense has 10:06 to work with in this football game. They have only shown one spark, but that was a flame. 88 yards for a touchdown, and they're the Northmen, but they'll chop anyway.
That's right. Well, the speed guy is Barber. He's inside on the slot there. He's a guy that can get deep and make things happen for Oak Park. They have to generate some offense and get out there now because the time is working down off the clock.
Amon's pass a little bit too tall for Barber, and in the coverage, it's Jason Taylor.
Jason Taylor.
So Oak Park testing their passing offense a little bit here. They like to run the football. They're such a solid running football team last year. Went to the wing tee many times and had some excellent backs, and that offensive front works so well. And here they're without Bartholomew, one of their top runners. He's injured. He's been in there a little bit tonight. But the offense has struggled to get it going. Just one big play, and that's why the score is 17-7. Pitch it back to Barber, and he is just collared and pushed backward by Simpson.
Neil, the key to the Blue Springs defense all night, and I've said it a number of times, is they've done a great job of stopping Oak Park on second and long situations. And here, once again, they're trying to pitch the ball out and get the speed back Barber to the outside, but their defense is in the right position, it seems like, all the time. It seems like they're making the correct call on second down. They're not giving Oak Park room to breathe. Now it's a difficult situation on third down to convert because it's a long yardage situation.
Flag or a whistle on the play, and Coach McGinnis not too happy about something out there. As on that last stop, it was Warren and Simpson who made the tackle. Warren had a piece of the jersey.
Dead ball, illegal procedure, offense.
So procedure against Keith Ross' offensive team. And that makes it 3rd and 17, so the penalty hurting the Northmen here.
It's very tough when on third down you're staring at the face of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15 to convert these situations, and Oak Park has had a difficult time converting. I think they maybe have converted less than, probably they're at 10% for tonight.
And the penetration of that defensive front has been excellent all night, and it is again. As Ament just forced to hit the side on. And Counts was in there, also Simpson in there.
Well, that quickness by Counts, you see him coming from his linebacker position up in front. There's a cross block there, untouched. And third down and long, Neil, your defense licks their chops because they know you got to throw the ball and they're coming after you.
You know, Counts been playing down lineman all night long at 175 and 5'7". There he is.
But that quickness has paid off for him because he's utilizing his great speed and quickness to make the plays.
And he's been making plenty of them tonight. This one bounds across the 50-yard line. Canoose lets it go, and it's down at the 47 of Blue Springs. And again, the field position battle is just being won handily tonight by Blue Springs here in the second half.
And that's been the key in this ball game. Field position enabled Blue Springs to march the ball down the field and score points because they only had to go about 50 yards, whereas Oak Park has been sitting back there having to drive the ball 70, 80 yards, and the chances are you're not going to be effective doing that for the entire football game. Plus, they really haven't had any sustained drives so far tonight. They've really not gotten on track offensively the entire evening.
And what a catch by Bray. Just reached up and picked it out of the sky with one hand. Jason Smith on the coverage.
That's what you call concentration on the football, and Bray does a good job of keeping concentration. The ball's thrown behind him. He shows great athletic ability by being able to adjust to the ball that's behind him. Look, sticks one hand out there, concentrates. Even though there's a defender in his face, he comes up with the catch.
So Bray makes the catch, an acrobatic one. A gain of only 3, 2nd and 7. The give to Wisdom with a big hole. First down at the 40-yard line of Oak Park. Well, they've been throwing the ball so much in the last few series, and now the running game wide open with Wisdom.
Well, Wisdom, look at the total yards tonight. Blue Springs 285, the Oak Park's 100. They've totally dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And you can see evident of Wisdom breaking up through that hole. Excellent blocking. As Nate Minnis pointed out, his offensive line is blocking better than they did in the Rockhurst game, and the numbers show it.
Time winding in the ball game. Inside shuffle pass. This is Pruitt breaking a tackle, breaking another. He's got a first down across the 30, and he's down at the 27-yard line. Matt Waldman makes the stop.
Pruitt's got a noticeable limp right now, Neil. It may be a smart idea to maybe take him out and rest him a little bit because they've got a lot of more football games to play, and they need this young man because he is a fixture in their offense, and he's a big play guy.
And that's exactly what happened. Mick Simpson comes in replacing Pruitt as there is timeout on the field with 6:29 to play. And the numbers on Nate Minnis tonight, pretty standard for this fine quarterback for Blue Springs. The NFL is featured twice on TNT this week. Sunday night at 6:30, it's the Los Angeles Rams at the New Orleans Saints. And then on Thursday night at 6:30, it's the Detroit Lions as they travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. TNT, American Cablevision, and Jones Intercable bringing you the best in NFL action. And also Bump and Run. Every Wednesday night we tape the show at Bannister Mall with Duron Cherry and Theodis Brown, and then the show is seen on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at those times. And who knows, man, maybe we'll have another one like Neil Smith just going to town for us and sacking people in the audience.
That's true, sacking people, but, you know, they come out to see you, Neil, as of course all week long. You know, they're excited. I've seen you signing a lot of autographs last show,
yeah.
So keep up the good work. I'm just a pleasure working with you.
Exactly. 1st and 10 at the 27. Minnis rolling out, looking downfield. His receivers covered well, and he tucks it under. And Minnis makes something out of nothing. About a 5-yard gain on the play. You know something else, Duron, that the defense of Blue Springs tonight, got to give them a lot of credit as well for the field position battle tonight.
Oh, they definitely won the field position. But, you know, Neil, when they had the opportunity, we'll take a look at Minnis right here getting pounded. And number 13's grabbing his helmet, driving him back there. Look at him. They're trying to hog tie him.
And a little mask.
Oh, yeah. Little heavy action there.
5:49 and
but
winding.
as we were pointing out, the defense has done a great job of securing excellent field position for Blue Springs, and that has been the key for their offense tonight.
The give to Wisdom. Time winding off the clock with the running game going now as he takes it down inside the 20 to almost the 15, tackled by Mickey Wolverton. Well, you hit with the pass, you hit with the pass, you hit with the pass, and then when you need to run time off the clock, the Blue Springs offense able to bring the running game to the forefront. And Keith Ross, who's had a fine season at 5-0 this season, can only watch. But it's been a fine effort by his defense this evening. Wisdom racked up by Muty, or actually Osborne, Wes Osborne.
It's just an example now that Blue Springs offense is taking control and doing the job once again up front at the line of scrimmage and opening up holes for this for Wisdom. And when you can do that, you know, now it's all downhill. They know they've got this game under control, and they're going to try to do whatever they can to keep it that way.
A couple of those big guys up front in your screen. Kevin Ball, 71. Ryan Allenbaugh, 69. Been doing the job up front tonight. Menace on the rollout, wants to run it. Picks his way to about the 10-yard line. Just a smart run by Menace. He just lets the flow go by him and cuts it back inside and picks up some yardage. And Cooper and Ziegler in on the stop for Oak Park.
Menace very content to let the clock run down, Neil, and you know, when you're in a position like that, you've got a 10-point lead. You take as much time off of that clock as possible. They're in great position right now, if not to score 7, at least to come away with 3 points on the field goal and really lock this game up.
Time winding in this game. Blue Springs in great field position now at the 10-yard line. Running the football effectively on the option play. Menace keeps it, and he's crunched at about the 4-yard line down to the 3. And Eric Hernandez, one of the guys that laid the big hit on him.
But Menace is so tough. Hernandez lays this hit on him, but Menace gets up, and he's clapping, and he's running around the huddle. He's pumped up. He is pumped up. Option coming out. See, he doesn't hesitate, Neil. He sees an opening. He takes it upfield, lowers that shoulder. There's Amon and Hernandez coming up, laying a big hit on him, but Menace gets up, goes on about his business.
First and goal at the 3. Menace on the keeper, and he's close, down at the 1-yard line. Rob Seeley in on the stop for Oak Park with 3:04 to go and winding.
Tell you what a great job that offensive line is doing up front for Blue Springs. He gets 3 yards there, Neil, on a quarterback sneak. You tell me they're not moving people out of there.
They've done the job tonight, and that's the distance separating Blue Springs from another touchdown. Menace on the keeper, squeezes through, but no signal. Boy, from the movement of the line, it almost looked like he had to be in there.
Yeah,
Coach McGinnis is saying, where's he at?
Yeah, they're
He
doing
saw
a
the
good
pile
job
move.
of stopping him, but they're going to let the clock run down. If I'm Dan Ross, maybe right now I use some timeouts here, Neil, and stop the clock and not let it run down.
Third down and goal.
Clock continues to wind, 2:08 in this game. And the ball ever closer to the goal line, inside the 1. Menace on the sneak again. Touchdown, Blue Springs. Well, Durant, 23-7, Blue Springs leading it now. There's plenty of talking going on out there on the field right now, and Nate Menace is involved in a little of it.
He's excited. You know, he gets his team in. They had a little scare early in the third quarter when Oak Park busts off by Barber, breaks that 89-yard touchdown, and I'm sure Oak Park was out there doing some jabbering. Now Menace comes back and he's saying, hey, you had your chance a little earlier, but now we're going to have the fun.
And Hodson hooks it through. And it's 24-7. Blue Springs top inside of 2 minutes to play. And again, the sneak by Nate Menace following his offensive line that's done an excellent job tonight.
Well, the guys in the trenches never get the credit, but it's because of them that Menace is able to wedge behind them and get into the end zone. These guys up front have been tremendous all night. They've really established the line of scrimmage from the first series of this football game tonight and have dominated Oak Park up front.
Snow and Johnson and Beeble and Kevin Baugh and Ryan Allenbaugh, what a great job by the offensive front tonight of Blue Springs.
When Oak Park looks back and they say, where did we go wrong in this game tonight? Where were we beaten? I don't think necessarily Nate Menace was the enemy, even though he contributed some key third down situations, but up front on both offensively and defensively, they were handled extremely well by this Blue Springs football team.
Well, Blue Springs will kick it off now. Guy Hodson to deliver it. And back deep, Rocha, and also Jason Key. .155 to go. And Blue Springs will take control of the Suburban Big Six with the win here tonight. Key takes the right sideline, nearly had an opening there, but cutting off his water is Billy Gasson.
Billy Gasson is over there. Nathan Folk is running down. Here's an inside starting linebacker running down on kickoff, making a big impact.
And it's all coming right at you, Duran.
It's coming right at you right here. The return set up. Watch how they converge on him. Ooh. Glad I'm up here, Neil.
That Nathan Folk is just ready to hit people right out of the locker room. You said it, man. Doesn't matter, special teams, he's just ready to be involved. And this is Bartholomew on the carry, first down, out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. And you heard Wayne McGinnis said, well, this is good. They're going to run the football.
They're going to run it and run out the clock. Well, you know, Oak Park is not a passing team, or they don't have that kind of attack to come back when they're down, Neil, by 17 points. But at least you try to make an attempt. Bartholomew right there coming out. He's hurt noticeably. He's limping back, trying to get that leg loose. And when you've been sitting down the whole game, it's awfully tough.
On the option, Ament. And they had this one covered well. And that'll bring up third down as he lost a yard on the play. Well, Keith Ross, they're still in the hunt, and who knows? These two teams could meet again in the playoffs as they did a season ago, and his team so close to defeating Blue Springs at Blue Springs last year. They took the lead with 30 seconds left, and just to have the Blue Springs folks drive down and score the winning touchdown, but he knows his team could be back playing Blue Springs again.
Well, Neil, they played well at the end of the year, and
Ament running for his life, slips and stays inbounds at the 27 with 17 seconds to play.
So you know they'll have a chance. There's no question about it. They'll be back, and they'll regroup from this loss tonight and come back and work harder. Keith Ross, you know, this team exemplifies his character, and he's tough, and he'll have these guys ready to play.
As time runs out on this one, Blue Springs wins it 24-7 over Oak Park. So both teams now 5-1 on the season, but Blue Springs takes the lead in the conference by virtue of their undefeated conference record.
Fine game tonight by Blue Springs. They did everything they were supposed to do. The only glaring statistic for them was they still had those penalties, but fortunately tonight they weren't playing a team that could overcome and really put the pressure on them, and they did a fine job of hanging in there and coming back in the second half and making up those scores.
So we've seen a good one in the Suburban Big Six Conference tonight. Blue Springs winning at 24-7. Back with more after this.
Kansas City, a tranquil, peaceful community of Whispering Fountain.
It's Isaac Curtis, our y'all, and Will Height stayed here overnight.
Things are heating up at Arrowhead Stadium, so things are getting hot at Bannister Mall with weekly live tapings of Bump and Run.
We don't like them, and on Saturday it's going to be a bloodbath.
Join Duron Cherry and Company at Bannister Mall Wednesday nights at 7 for an inside look at Kansas City's favorite team. And watch Bump and Run on American Cablevision, coming through for Kansas City.
It's official. So welcome to the grand opening sale at the all-new John McCarthy Gladstone Nissan.
The fact a rematch of a regular season contest that the Wildcats of Blue Springs took by an easy margin. Not so easy tonight. They're not the Braves, the Indians, the Chiefs, or the Redskins, but the Northmen of Oak Park love the chop anyway. And they have to love this touchdown pass from Matt Ament to Jason Smith that gave them a 7-6 lead late in the first quarter. Blue Springs took the ensuing kickoff, threw an interception, and Ament and Oak Park find the end zone again. This time, it's a 2-yard plunge by the quarterback. Oak Park led it 14-9 at the intermission. Blue Springs isn't one of the best teams in the state for nothing. They got an early third-quarter touchdown run from Ben Wisdom, then this beautiful pass from Nate Menace to All-America Leroy Pruitt. 45 yards to make it 21-17 Blue Springs. They led it 24-17 when Oak Park put on a late fourth-quarter drive that even John Elway would love. Ament to Smith again. Oak Park is down by 1. They went for 2, didn't make it, and Blue Springs wins again, but just barely, 24-23.
We don't have the depth they have. They, double platoon, and we felt like we needed to go for the win, and we felt like we could make it. We didn't.
That's not good enough to beat the people we have to play. And if our kids want to play that way, we might.
Wolverton, 17 yards, taking it to the 3-yard line. Then 2 plays later, Ament on the quarterback keeper for the touchdown. The extra point was good, 14-6 Oak Park. Go to the third quarter. The second play of the third quarter, turnover. Ament on the option play, fumbles. Blue Springs will recover on Oak Park's 31-yard line. Blue Springs running back Ben Wisdom takes it the final 7 yards for the touchdown, putting his team up by the score of 15-14. Third quarter, Oak Park didn't quit. Doug Bailey, 36-yard field goal, 17-15. Oak Park now leading. Blue Springs came back. Yes, here it is. Nate Menace. Watch this play. Throwing to Leroy Pruitt. This will cover 48 yards and a touchdown, putting Blue Springs back on top, 21-17. This went down to the wire when the Wildcats stopped a 2-point play, and Blue Springs wins it by the score of 24-23. Other 5A action, it was Jeff City. Look at that score, 62-7. Now Blue Springs will host Jeff City this Saturday. Class 4A, it was Hickman Mills defeating St. Joe Lafayette 14-8. In over.
All right, there's Technotronic, pump up the jam, okay? All right, we're getting a little crazy in here. Bobby Brown, he was doing a little humping around, but in the next one he's got going, here's the follow-up. We got Good Enough. He's getting a little busy in this one on the beach. What can I say? Bobby Brown, here he is.